Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today, I'm talking to my buddy John Harcar. He wore some formal apparel for us here, as you can see if you're watching the video. He's got his tuxedo t-shirt on, Investor Fuel tuxedo t-shirt, actually. Today, we're going to talk about how, a lot of times on the shows, you guys, let's face it, we've done over 1,500 shows, and we tend to talk more about the positive side of the business and everything. And John's been through some difficult things and a couple decisions that he's made, and his business has swayed a couple ways. And the truth is all successful real estate investors have been through some challenges. So we're going to talk about how it's important to make lemonade when life throws you some lemons. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Yeah, I hope you don't mind. I like my tuxedo shirt, dressed up for the occasion.
I didn't know it was a formal event. I'm just wearing a polo here. So,
well, I got that shirt and I looked at it and I'm like, I've never worn this thing. What a fitting occasion, especially because it was your birthday yesterday. So I'm dressing up for that too.
It's funny. Oh, yeah. So it's funny. For those of you that don't know, we have our Investor Fuel mastermind events, and we do a lot of stuff with T-shirts. And we had a casino charity event at our last event, so raised some money for charity and raised a bunch of money. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of us played all sorts of. We had a whole bunch of gaming stuff going on: blackjack, poker, craps, roulette, all sorts of stuff. But we made tuxedo T-shirts for the event, which just contributed to the fun. So, but John, so tell a little bit about your background for those that don't know who you are, and we're going to kind of get into some topics today that I think we're going to just kind of be real with people about how life is not always roses, certainly as entrepreneurs, and the truth is net it's a great business, but you have to overcome some obstacles along the way. But kind of tell us your background, how you got started in real estate investing.
Well, I started in real estate as a whole, I guess, when I was working with Rebo Gateway. I was their data provider, and it's funny, I got hired with Rebo Gateway, and I knew not a thing about real estate. Yeah. I just learned as I went, and that'll be a theme of this call, I guess. But as I learned, I grew that, and I started, talking with investors. Sean Terry was the first one we worked with, and it just exploded from there. I mean, I tried to get you to buy some of my data or sell it or put it for your students. But and then after that grew, I kind of knew that with that company, I was kind of ceilinged out a little bit. And I got invited to Tom Kroll's event, and I heard Brent Daniels talk about TTP, the cold calling. And, my background in business for 20 years has been cold calling centers, right? Starting cold calling centers. So I kind of figured, like, that's it. That's what I need to do. And started doing that. Had an opportunity to come out here to Vegas and do a call center, and just really took off. And I think August of last year, I went full time, made the leap. Was making a great 6-figure income with Rebo Gateway, but maybe it wasn't the time. It wasn't. I've outlived my time there, so it was time for me to jump out, and I jumped.
And you saw what happened is you were selling data to probably lots of different businesses. Yeah. You saw this niche of real estate investors and what they're doing with data and how they need data, and started to move in that direction. And you shared a story with me before, I know. And this is common. Like, people could be realtors, they could be lenders, there are other things, and they see, wow, I'm working with that person, or I know that person, or I'm trying to sell them something, or trying to work with them another way. And it seems like they're making a lot more money than I am. Like, what am I doing here, right? So that's kind of that's how you got introduced, right?
Yeah, I think exactly how I told you was I was tired of seeing other people post those big checks online on Facebook that I had literally talked to about 2 weeks before. And it's funny, on our conversation earlier, you mentioned the all-in guys. Yeah, I remember talking with like Sal Shakir and Carlos years ago, and they're just getting data from us, like asking me, like, where's the best data? And being on the other side of the fence now, and being more of their peer, it's really, really cool to flash back to those moments when I get to talk to them and remember those times.
Yeah. And what's interesting, and I can't speak to any of those guys specifically, is that they all had ups and downs in their business, right?
Yeah.
On social media, it's easy for us to assume that everything is always positive, but the truth is, as humans, and maybe it's ego or whatever, tend to share we tend to share more of the good stuff than the bad stuff, right? And we all have ups and downs. We all have bad months, we all have bad weeks, we all have bad days, we all have bad business relationships, we lose money on deals. Like, things happen, and the land of real estate investing is not the land of milk and honey. We wouldn't be doing it. I mean, I wouldn't have been doing this for 11 years if it hadn't been a net huge positive in my life, but it doesn't mean that every day is positive, right?
Well, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and I think that was a big thing that when I realized from making that jump is that, there's so many more turning pieces and elements and things as a business owner that you don't see, because all I saw was, in my mind, $1 million on the phone. That's where my metric. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to make $1 million. Well, it doesn't exactly work that way.
Yeah.
And I learned it, and that's the hard part, and that's where a lot of the gut check and the the learning comes in, and the network you have built, and the help in building that knowledge comes into play.
Yeah. So let's talk about, so you got started in real estate investing. Kind of take it from, you left Rebo Gateway and formed a partnership.
Yep, formed a partnership. Just not all partnerships work out. I owe a lot of gratitude to him for a lot of tremendous experiences I had and learning I've gained. Now we recently started a new company, and we're still doing cold calling. And I think the biggest thing that I'm grateful for is, you really know what you're capable of when your back is against the wall. And that's huge. And that's where the whole mindset shifts come into play, is that, if you take things lying down, in a sense, you're going to get rolled over. So you got to step up your game. You got to have that mindset that, if you have the drive to do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? And that's what I was struggling with a little bit, in the fact that, I had this big team around me before, doing a lot of the work for me. And, I'm blessed that 2 of those guys are now my partners, but it's stepping back in the ranks and doing that grind again. But it's so appreciative. I appreciate every day now more. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about kind of just overcoming kind of obstacles. I think there's a lot of people that are in partnerships that break up. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in marriages that break up, right?
Yeah.
And truthfully, that's, those are the types of things that, nobody wants those things to happen, but those are the things that ultimately build character and help you pivot. And, those obstacles usually make us stronger as humans, as business people. I mean, sometimes they knock people out of the game too, right?
Yeah.
But let's just talk about things that happen in life that, why it's important to kind of learn from those things and how to make it a positive instead of a negative.
Yeah, it's truly how you look at it. And I could have looked at it that, I failed. I tried and I failed. I went out and I gave it my all, and it didn't work. So I'm going to tuck my tail and I'm going to run back. But no, I took it as a learning experience. I took what I learned and said, okay, now I know how and what I want to do. Now I can do it the right way. So if you look at things that happen to your life as, why me? I like to look at it as, sometimes, why not me? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why not me? Why not me? I can overcome this. And I posted the other day that for any person who truly knows his why, can overcome any obstacle. And I think that's where, how you look at things is dictated by your why as well. And if you don't have a strong why, then you're going to wallow in self-pity and why did it happen to me, versus, hey, look, brush yourself off and get up and go.
Yeah, it's so easy for people to become a victim these days, right? I mean, it's a sad thing that's happening really across America, of people just being less self-sufficient, and anything that goes wrong, pointing a finger at somebody other than themselves. But what are some of the lessons? I mean, what are some of the lessons you think other people that might be listening to this, if they face some challenges, how they can go reflect back on that? Because I know some other challenges you've had in your life that you've shared before, but without getting too personal here, but just how people can turn that around. And if they look back and they say, there's a lot of people that hang on to, yesteryear, right? They're like, this happened to me, and they just kind of decide that my best years are behind me. You know what I mean? There's people that do that, and it's crazy because as entrepreneurs that are like in Investor Fuel or people that we know that have achieved at a high level, they have failed way more than they've won, but they just keep pivoting up, right? Like I'm step back, but then I'm going to come back.
Right.
And a lot of people continue that downtrend, and they just kind of decide in their mind, like, can never get back to being that good again or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going deep here, John.
Yeah, I mean, you went a little deep. Tell me the question again. I kind of forgot that.
I want people that are listening to this that have had something negative happen in their life to
let it go.
You got to let it go, and you got to say that was an opportunity to not touch that hot stove again. Not like don't ever be around a stove. It's like just don't touch it again.
Yeah, well, and I love I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella and the MF CEO when I'm working out. And it's like let it the F go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's been the hardest part for me, right? Is just to let things go. I've been one that's always held on to it. So as me as a struggle, that's been my biggest part. But there's a reason why the rearview mirror is this big and the front mirror is this big, because you need to look. You have to look. You have to look back, and if you don't look back and you don't learn and take from what happened to you and apply what you've learned to do better, then that whole thing is a waste, and then you might as well walk. Right? If you take that and you apply it and let it go, but only remember those facts, then you're going to be able to move on and focus on going forward.
That's
Can't
awesome.
change yesterday. You know?
Yeah,
I can't change what happened a month ago. If I sit here all day and say, you know what happened a month? Oh man, that happened. Oh man, it's not going to put food on my table. It's not going to pay my baby's daycare. It's not going to pay my rent. So I have to put my bootstraps on and go. Yep. And that's what people need to understand is that you're going to get knocked down. Everybody you see with Lamborghinis and Porsches and suits and everything has been beat the hell up.
Yeah.
But what they did is they took what they learned and they grew from it and got better.
There's no doubt.
That's all I can hope to do.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked a little bit about your why, and we talk about this a lot. Why are you doing this? And it was interesting because I do believe that it's important to know what it is. I've struggled personally with sometimes knowing why it is, because I found myself doing what a lot of people do. And they say, well, I'm doing this for my family, right? And it's like, well, everything you do should be for your family. But sometimes people say they're doing things for their family, and they just say that because it's an easy.
Yeah, because
there are people that say, I'm doing it for my family, and then their family never sees them because they're working hard for their family. It's like, well, your family would probably like to see you a little more too, and so there's always that line there of why do we do what we do. And it was interesting because Sean Whalen said something. He spoke at our event back in February, and he said something about that he struggled with, like sometimes you get down on not knowing what your why is, and sometimes you just like, I don't know what it is, but I just know that I want more, and I'm willing to kind of work hard and understand the fact that I'll figure this out eventually. But I don't want to just come up with a placeholder necessarily and say, I'm doing this for my family. It's not that you shouldn't be, or it's not that can't be your why, but sometimes there's more to it than that. But you talked about that a little bit, like maybe share your thoughts on the power of your why. And
my why. You're going to get me all emotional here because this is truly my why. When my first marriage, I was up until 5 years ago, a raging alcoholic. I have no problem saying that. I'm in full recovery. I haven't had a drink in 5 years. God saved us on April 1st. But that all led to me losing my daughters. And not losing them in the sense where I never really saw them, but I got divorced. I had to let them because I wasn't supporting them. Because of things going on, they moved to Washington, and so I had no relationship with them. With my new wife, we tried and tried and tried forever to have a child, and we couldn't, and we just gave up, right? And then God gave us her, gave us Ellie. So the reason I wanted to get into this business, it's not for the money. I want money, of course. I want to do a lot of stuff. But for me, it's that ability to be able to take that little girl to school and pick her up every day. Because those are those little things I missed. The other day that my grandfather, her grandfather got her My stepdad got her a little baseball T-ball thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got pissed because I didn't get a chance to try and do that with my other daughters. And this is one more chance. Baby factory's closed. One more chance. It's those little things that's my why. That's why I do it, because if I don't, and if I have to go back and spend the time like I did before, busting my hump for somebody else and not have the time to spend with her, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know? A couple of different events. I went to a Kent Clothier one, and they did the thing where you write down all your numbers and you have that many days left.
Yeah.
You know, and that just blew my mind. I'm like, okay, and how many days of that do I really have with her? Because once she becomes an adult, you know, so that's where I really truly, you know, feel that every moment counts. You know what I mean? And people keep asking, like, she's at my mom's for the week right now, and you know, I let her go because, you know, my mom needs to see her as much time, and that's what it's about. It's about them, not me.
Yep.
So
That's awesome.
that's.
Yeah, I think I told you to bring your box of tissues. You didn't get the text message.
No, I did, man, and I apologize.
Thanks for sharing that, man. You know I love you. So
yeah, I know you do, brother. I appreciate it.
Look, at the end of the day, I think one of the things that we've talked about, and one of the things I know, is in this process of you starting over again, you've been able to lean on the network that you've built up and the relationships you've built up. And we talk all the time about how important relationships are, right? And we all know that. And some of us, like I am militant about relationships, like so much that we're tracking, like, when's the last time I talked to somebody, like, because not with everybody, but with people that I want to get to know better, or people that I want to know more. And it's because I know the power of those relationships, and you never know where they might take you. Right. Yeah. But I know that you valued that a lot in the process of kind of recreating yourself here. So talk a little about the power of your network and those relationships and what that's meant for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, investor field has been huge for me. And, you know, like I mentioned before, in the years of working with Rebo Gateway, I met a lot of people I'm in the circle with now, or talking to now a lot. But especially when it comes to like investor field, some people I've met there, that's been invaluable, because starting over, especially, you know, when there's things I don't know, I have that person to turn to. You know, right out the bat, Jamie Woolley, we're working with her and her team. You know, for us to, you know, cut our costs and expenses, they're giving us phone numbers and stuff to call for them, and we're teaming up. We're 50-50. And you know, Mike Singletary, I worked with him. So the people that you build your network with are people that can help you survive in the times when you are knocked down. You're not ever alone. I'm never alone. I know I can call anybody from Investor Field right now, whether I've really met them or not, and be able to have that support that I need, you know. And then, like I said, I was texting Jamie this morning about, you know, how I'm getting beat up in the mindset thing, and someone who understands and have been there and can talk to you to it. So it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah. And I want to add to that though, John. So you have been inside of Investor Fuel. You've been a huge giver. You show up early, always willing to help.
I love it.
Stuff. You're always willing to help people, and it goes both ways, right? It's like the reason that your network is available for you now, and I'm sure you have an awesome network even outside of Investor Fuel, but inside of Investor Fuel, the reason that people are willing to give now is you've been giving for a long time, right? So I think in terms of kind of maybe share some lessons with people that are listening out there, whether you're part of Investor Fuel or not, is the importance of building your network, but not just like, you know, have a couple gimmicks here, having a couple of business cards of somebody that you have in a drawer somewhere.
Sure.
It's like having that relationship to where they're willing to help because they know you would do the same thing.
Exactly. And if you haven't read The Go Giver, read The Go Giver. I mean, you give more than you take all the time. I have people, and it still blows my mind, you know, I have people that reach out and want to spend some time with me on the phone to talk about cold calling, right? And what I've done with cold calling. And, you know, I feel like, you know, should you be talking to me or like John Martinez or Brent Daniels, someone else? I mean, why me? But it's empowering for me. And I open up in every podcast or a thing I've done, I've always put my cell phone number on there. And people ask if I'm nuts. Well, no, I don't care, because I'm going to help. If people didn't give to me what I've gotten up until this point, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah.
So if I don't give it back, then what I've done is for waste.
Yeah. Yeah. And the truth is I think most of us get to a point, and not all real, you know, I've shared my story a number of times. I wasn't always as open. Like the first couple of years I started in real estate investing, I was really like I don't want to tell anybody anything. Somebody's going to
Yeah, the mindset. Yeah.
And some of it was a mindset issue. Some of it was where I had just come from. I had lost a couple jobs and was like, hey man, I got to make this work. And then when I started to open up and share, and people share with me, and we're doing deals together, and next thing I know, it's like, man, this is not only better for your business, not only better, like, socially and psychologically, it's just the business really isn't that fun if you're in a hole somewhere and you don't get to talk to anybody. Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
No,
life is
yeah, if you're on an island, it's not fun. I mean, who do you share your wins with?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And me and my team or my two guys, my partners had talked about me, because I do some work from home too. But that influence of being together, it's the same kind of thing with investor. If you have a support team, you can see the wins coming. That boosts you up to want to win even more. That's what I love about you guys, is that I'm the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think, but I want to make myself the dumbest person in the room. I want to hang around the RJs and the Brandon Barnes and Mike and Stinson and Kevin Lee about, Airbnbs and stuff, and Mike Lima about, sober living homes and stuff. It's like those things I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do without a network that I built, through you guys.
Yeah. So John, it hasn't been that long that you kind of got started in real estate. Maybe we could talk a little bit about tips. Like you had a background, you had a call center background, so you were able to adapt and pull some of that in. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that I know that don't really know how to apply their background because it seems non-traditional. I mean, let's be honest, very few people that are successful in real estate investing started that way. They found their way there, right? They were in a shitty corporate job that they left or whatever it might be, right? Something. And they found their way there. But I think there's always lessons learned. Like there's lessons that I pulled from corporate America, which is like around putting systems and processes and people in place, right? And your call center background has added a lot of value. So talk to people that are listening right now that are doing some deals and maybe kind of stuck and they don't really know how to use their network or their background because it seems non-traditional.
For me, I mean, one thing that I have to really revert back to that I didn't do off the get-go when I started before is the KPIs and watching numbers and stuff. I mean, if someone's brand new, that's huge. Watch your numbers. I'm now paying attention to that more, and I'm seeing where some of the leaks maybe are when we're calling, lists that have bad contact rates. As far as utilizing your network, I mean, if you are going to expand into other marketing channels, go find the person who's killing it doing it, right? If you guys want to talk to me about cold calling, call me. I'm not killing it again yet. I mean, I will be. If you want to talk to whoever smashing direct mail in the Southeast, I mean, really utilize the resources that you have to grow your business. If you want to scale up, use the resources. You talk to Gary Harper about, training and disc tests, and talk to John Martinez about sales training, and use the tools you have to grow, because you're not here to do it alone. You ain't the first one to do it. You're not going to do it perfectly, and go learn from people that have failed and learn what they did the right way. That's what I would say to, me starting over again. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to, I'm still having that issue of letting go of, hey, I can do this business by again. I can start Singapore again. I don't need nobody, but I do. I do need somebody. I do need people, and my partners are great. I mean, they're really there. But when I'm talking about adding other systems and doing things the right way that we didn't do before, this is going to be a great resource. All my networks. So
maybe you could share, because you have a lot of experience with cold calling. Maybe you could share what's working. I know you've tested a bunch of stuff too. You've tested VAs, you tested in-house people. Maybe you could talk a little bit about kind of what's working now in cold calling.
Well, right now we're actually all three back on the phone. That's another hard part to adjust to, is I'm actually doing the dialer time on the phone. But when it comes to cold calling, I mean, if you're starting out and you're on a budget, you absolutely have to do it yourself, and it's really a function of, and I think this is where people lose in cold calling, is they try to go out and make it like it's a sale or make it like it's a process. In my opinion, and I might get beat up for it, just talk to people. It's Brent Daniels, like TTP. Talk to it like it's your friend. Hey, what's happening, Jim? Oh, yeah, you don't know, it's John. But if you have that persona and that mentality that, okay, so I just made another friend, cool. It's going to be a lot easier than saying, oh, damn, I didn't make another deal. I didn't get another lead.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing in cold calling that people fail at is the ability not to make a friend.
Yep.
And then ask the tough questions and know the right questions to ask. It's hard cold calling. It's not easy. I mean, if anybody's going to decide to start, here's a pump for John Martinez. If you don't watch John Martinez, then you're not going to do very well, because there are some nuances that even I, as a 20-year person on the phone, picked up from John. One little paragraph changed the responses, the leads, the quality, just one little thing. So, and that goes back to using the network. But just make a friend on the phone. Don't be afraid. People get afraid.
We teach a lot. I do a lot of coaching for helping new people get started. And we always say, look, you are trying to buy a house, but just go out and just try to help somebody. Just talk to them, have a good conversation, and at the end of the day, you're never going to convince somebody to sell you their house that didn't want to sell you their house in the first place. Right. So,
well, it's 5% of the population is what we're looking for. If they want to talk, they'll talk. Back to your question, when it comes to in-house or cold calling, or VAs, if I had the option, unlimited budget, in-house all day long. I've always done in-house. My fan of it is the fact that people progress a lot faster, because you're around people and you're hearing people, and you're getting more of the influence going. More cost-effective VAs, obviously. I'm still coin flipped about the both, because realistically, if someone wants to sell their home, I think they're truly going to talk to you, whether or not you have a slight accent or don't. And there's a lot of VA companies that are using people that have great accent. No accent at all, really, I should say.
Sure, yeah.
They sound great, right? And you can get people that are expats overseas.
Sure.
It's just what you want to pay. You know what I mean?
Right. I think what you like, and what I know people that like a lot is the energy in the room of a room full of people that are calling, right, or getting pumped up. They start competing with one another.
Yeah.
That guy just got a deal. I just see how excited he is. I want to be excited like that. And when you're working with VAs, you don't see that, you don't hear that. They're probably home based, so they're not even around each other. And just it's really the energy of
with VAs, you have to be a little bit more hands on. You got to do more. You got to do more call audits and stuff. And like you said, you're right. You can make more fun out of the monotonous thing of cold calling when you got it, in the office, versus a VA in the Philippines with 8 other people in a room or wherever.
Yeah. Well, John, you've talked. You mentioned Investor Fuel a number of times here, so not trying to turn this whole thing into like an infomercial for Investor Fuel necessarily, but maybe you could just share a testimonial of Investor Fuel and when you joined, what you thought you were getting into, and what the experience has actually been like for you.
Well, for me, when I joined Investor Fuel, I've been to a number of other different things. I think not too far before I went to Investor Fuel, I went to and that was all with Rebo Gateway stuff. But I thought when I'm going into Investor Fuel, it's going to be the same thing. I got to try to fit in. I got to act like I'm a big baller and doing hundreds of deals a year. We were doing good, but I wasn't at that level. And with Investor Fuel, I didn't feel that way. You know what I mean? I walked in and I just felt I was welcomed and greeted. You and Stinson just reaching out right off the bat. It became a family for me, to where, like I said, me starting over, I'm able to reach out to people that before Investor Fuel, I might have saw them on Facebook. I might have, maybe attended an event or two that they showed up at, but not where I can go in and immediately enter a JV relationship and someone give me a bunch of data and I call or say, hey man, I'm in a pinch. I don't know Dallas. I need a quick ARV and someone will help me out. That's the invaluable part, is a network that will last forever. Past, anytime or not Investor Fuel, you know what I mean? So if you want a family, I like Investor Fuel. If you want a suit type of show, go to some of these other people. So that's my testimony. I love it.
Yeah. You are wearing a tuxedo right now, though.
I am wearing a tuxedo right now. I'm glad I got but check it out. I'm also wearing camouflage shorts.
There you go.
I'm full redneck wedding.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody, please.
Awesome, John. Well, hey, if folks wanted to get in touch with you or learn more about what you've got going on, or wanted to reach out, where should they go?
You can either look me up on Facebook, John Harcar. Our business on Facebook, our new company, is Dealer's Choice Home Buyers. So if you wanted to check that out on Facebook as well, or once again, call me. Cell phone number is 702-335-8317.
Awesome, John. Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today.
All right, Mike. Thank you, man.
Always good to see you, my friend. And
You too.
everybody that listened today, thanks for joining us. If you haven't yet, we'd love it if you subscribe to on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, anywhere else where you can watch. Of course, you can find us all at investorfuel.com. If you're interested in learning more about Investor Fuel, simply just go to investorfuel.com. You can fill out a little application, and that just gets you on the phone with us. We'll talk a little bit more about you and your business and see if we might be a fit to help you out and join the Investor Fuel family. So appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you on the next show. Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.